Welcome back, operators. It's your favorite gold-ranked penguin, Xeadas. I'm bringing a new what if to the Siege community. And after how the last one did, I'm hoping this one does decently well too. Maybe? Please? Anyway, we here in my igloo discussed this what if enough that I feel like I can ask the question, what if we revived R6 Extraction? Now, please, before you get angry or have the gasps or want to throw plenty of frag grenades at my, body and my squad, I want to start this conversation and break into three parts. I'm gonna say this is my interpretation to revive this game and to fix major problems that you may have A, never played Extraction, or B, had different issues with the game. These are my problems, though. So I'm hoping that you will understand that for this video, this is my problems that I want to fix. And if you hate this, 100% is valid to hate. Believe me, I know. Mikhail and Prismo both said this is going to be a wild what if. Anyway, operators, let's dive in. The first major piece of contention isn't necessarily gameplay or even the story. I actually like the story. But it is the damn cosmetics and the pushing of them so quickly. Especially the premium secondary tools, like the turret and the harness. Remove those tools as a whole and make the cosmetics dial it back majorly. The latter should only be a tab in the darn store. And the former, the cosmetics, shouldn't be in the game at all. Or at least very limitedly. Locking tools behind a paywall is sad. It's just bad. And this is coming from Ubisoft. But then there's the argument of, but the devs need more money. And I say in my magical world, upon reviving this game, we don't need to sell these. We just gotta sell the game. So if we can just sell Extraction, even though it's tied to Siege, maybe have a cross connection to Siege. Maybe if you get something in Siege, you get a charm in Extraction, or you get a specialty set in Extraction, you get a weapon skin or a charm in the other game. Or let's say, hey, I got the full set for taking down Protean Vigil. Well, now I get that set in Siege, or get part of that set in Siege. It's a way to incentivize at least doing things for the cosmetics, but having the premium content be that amount, can we tone it down, reduce some of it, tie it back into Siege as a spin-off game? They have the ability to do things like this, but they didn't. And it feels more like it is a shameless cash grab than a game in its own entirety. It lacks the identity when you have so much premium content just being forced down our throats with a bat. Now, I know that sounds aggressive, but the second piece may be worse. The story of the game, I know I said just a second ago, I do like. And I do like how it's connected to tasks, so you actually have to go do things and have that replayability and be forced to play new operators. But the repetitiveness of some of these tasks get really annoying. So, as a way to fix this, would make it as a full tier list. You'd have all of the missions together in one go, and as you knock them out, you hit milestones instead, and that's how you get certain things. I would also load them up with multiple, those React entries in the index are now put together, and you have more of these unique cosmetics tied to the area, or weapon skins or charms in this milestone. Maybe even certain operators, such as, hey, Zofia, released after release of the game, maybe you get her from clearing a certain milestone in the San Francisco milestone tree. But I will say this, how about having a few challenges that are also cross-map? Killing so many Archeans or Proteans give you either backtracked progress or forward tracked progress in other maps, allowing you some more incentive to go play maps in different orders, getting some interesting abilities, replaying them with different ways. Maybe taking down smashers in a certain way, or taking down apexes in a certain way, or doing such a things with smashers, or taking out so many blinding spores with Ella's Gersmont in a map is unique to that map. There's so many options you could do instead of just, here are your 3 tasks, do them, here's your next 3 tasks, do them. It gives more variety and gives you the ability to give more rewards for both easier and more difficult challenges, and I feel like it would be just a bit more fun. But I still do understand the way they wanted to do the 3 objectives, as you give somebody a massive list, they may get completely overwhelmed and not want to do it. I also will acknowledge that. But as I will say, having some objectives be cross-map, meaning, hey, you got to kill so many smashers with a takedown, and the milestone itself is smaller, let's say in New York, than in Truth or Consequences, but it is so much more approachable in my eyes than just, here's 3, do them, oh, well, you just did something similar, you gotta do it now again, versus do it once, and even if you complete it on this map, it still counts for other maps. So you could do a lot of stuff in New York if you just like the map layout, or you just want to grind up operators in New York, and it works later. Maybe convert it from, instead of being map specific, it's difficulty specific. So if you do it on critical or severe, it still backtracks, but some may just be easier doing critical and severe than in moderate. Now, lastly, the third major piece that I took note of was operators. And that specifically was the loadouts being a little bit too samey. And they could have done more with the game being separate from Siege. I'm going to break this into 2 things, with their loadouts being guns and gadgets. First, on the gun front, LMGs like the V308 and the LP41 took center stage all around because of their massive mag size and damage. With shotguns, marksmanship rifles, or just not having the ability to really be high up in my way of playing, I did not enjoy them as much as the LMGs or some assault rifles. I would love to rework the loadouts to make it where, yes, LMGs are useful in long fights, but they are primarily too clunky normal missions. Assault rifles have good damage, but consistently need ammo. SMGs have less damage, but more ammo than assault rifles, so reverse the problem. But reworking the loadouts would approach as, we're going to give weapons that are not normally, if not ever, associated, even with that country, given to these operators. As this is React, they are beyond country lines. This is a world threat. They need to be using whatever they have at their hands. So you could see somebody like Doc or Jaeger using an LMG that may not, be connected to France or Germany, respectively. You could see Doc running around with someone like the R4C from Ash, which isn't even in the game, to my knowledge. I didn't see it when I was playing it, unless they had ideas of it and scrapped it. But you have Doc using Ash's R4C, running around using it, or Jaeger using the Alda 5.56, which is in the game, but it's only on Alibi. But that doesn't fix the main problem that I also had, was if you're going to incentivize weapons, you need to have a way to make them useful. So I would introduce a change to let you change weapons in between subzones. So when you have that transition, you'd be able to swap out your weapons. You can't change operators, but you can change out weapons. So let's say, hey, I just finished a biopsy, or I just finished a hunt, or I had an assault rifle. Well, now I need an LMG because I'm going to do a protean or a major fight, and I'm going to be sitting and anchored for a while. Okay, but when you swap, you don't just take over every single bullet. There's nothing stopping you from running an LMG and then changing to an AR and having 3,000 bullets. No, you would have a reduced equivalent of what you would start with. So let's say, hey, I had an LMG, I already picked up some ammo. Well, the ammo would be taken into account when you swap, but you'd still be down from the initial. So, let's say, hey, I want to swap to my assault rifle. Instead of starting with 300 bullets, you start with 250 or 280, down a magazine, picked up ammo, so I'm back to 310. That solves the gun problem, maybe. The other problems I had was you had operators with the exact same gadget with barely any changes in some cases. I would have loved to see some operators get a unique take on their gadget. I have something planned where I actually go over that in another video here soon, maybe. Look out for that one later. But I was thinking, well, what if we had somebody like Oryx who would come over from Siege but would have a modified version of his dash, or wouldn't even have his dash. Maybe it's Oryx with a new gadget. That's another issue I had, is that you have operators who came out after Chimera, after the Outbreak event, get added to Extraction, Greylock and Nomad. Could we have gotten either more characters like that, or new original characters specifically for Extraction with whole new gadgets? Because you're not balancing this game for player versus player, you're doing it player versus environment, and some operators just feel weaker than others. Very quickly. Habana, her gadget seems good against those that have armor, but other than that, she's not extremely strong. But then you have an operator like Doc who can pretty much keep your health up the entire mission, or an operator like Finka who can heal you a while, or Ella who can constantly pretty much throw out stuns, fuse into Chonka, throw out large bits of damage. But then you have Sledge there with a hammer. Good for opening sightlines, but he doesn't have a massive ability. But this penguin has been rambling a lot. And I do appreciate your time. I still really love Extraction. I played the beta for it. I gotta see if I have those screenshots. I'll link them if I do. But I just said the 3 major problems I noticed. There are more. I can guarantee you that. Those are just 3 of the major reasons I noticed and that I wanted to talk about. And with Vantage Studios getting Rainbow Six Siege and what I'm assuming is Tom Clancy's rights for video games, I would love to see if they did something with Extraction. I would love that. Extraction is a very fun solo game even. As if I can clear a Protean smoke on Severe by myself, then I am happy. This is a game that I wish more people played still. There's just so much. But I think it's time that I throw my drone out for y'all, get you the intel, give you your pings and your information, and let y'all go push the Archeans and those Preteans back to whatever world they came from. You got this, operators. This is Xeadas, and I'm signing out.
If there's a door, there's a way. Other squads will want to follow your lead now.